Hello, everyone, and welcome one more time to another webinar by LiveChat. And today we're going to cover something very buzzworthy. It's been one of the biggest buzzwords over the last decade, which is omnichannel. And for that, I invited Filip Jaskowski. Filip is one of the brains, if I have to say, one of the brains behind the product, behind LiveChat. And he's going to help us understand what omnichannel really means and how to use it to improve customer satisfaction. So, Filip, welcome to the webinar.
Hi, hello. Thanks for having me, Marcus. Pleasure to be here today.
So before we start, just to give a little bit of context to the whole conversation, between 85 to 90% of the conversations happening online, especially in messaging channels, is communication between customers and business. So that's a huge percentage. Basically, everything happening between customer and business is through a messaging channel. What does that mean for us?
Yeah, it sounds coherent, right? It sounds like the entire volume of conversations are happening within messaging channels, but it's not actually that. It's totally fragmented. We have like dozens of messaging platforms all over the place, and they are kind of different. They are serving the same purpose, but they are different in the experience. And I believe 5 years ago, Twilio did a great study on how the market of messaging or communication online changes. And it was 5 years ago, and it was already the fact that the messaging channels were eating the old traditional channels like phone, email, and channels like that, right? And today it's even far more advanced in terms of being fragmented. So that's kind of a great opportunity to build a messaging channels to work on that. We have great challenges to face today. So
especially 90% is a huge number for this. So we're gonna dig in a little bit more. So welcome to our webinar. So for the sake of today's discussion, we're gonna split this in two perspectives. We're gonna start with the customer perspective, and then we're gonna move it to the business perspective. So I wanna start with the customer. Do we know what the customer wants, Filip?
Yeah, that's a trillion-dollar question, right? Every company would like to know that.
But because we don't know, we need to sort of put ourselves in the situation. So I prepared an example for this occasion. So imagine you need to travel. So you hire a travel agency because the paperwork during the pandemic is huge. So you want someone they can take care of that. So you can just relax, right? But the problem is that the company, the travel agency, is not giving you enough information back. So you start getting anxious. Like, what's the problem here? What are we seeing in this situation?
Sure. To see the problem in a full perspective, let's first dig into the perspective of the customer and let's really try to put ourselves in their shoes. So what they really want at this particular example, they want to have leisure time. They want to have quality time with the family, right? To experience some time off. And what they not necessarily want is to contact the company, right? But the companies tend to think so. They tend to think that if the customer wants something, they need to contact them, right? And if you put that phrase to use too often, if you say at company that the customer needs to contact us because they want something, that shifts the right idea, because the right idea is that the customer wants to have leisure time, not to contact the company.
Especially as a customer, you don't want to be asking questions. You need the questions answered. So just as a takeaway from what you just said, customers don't care about omnichannel approach or strategy. They just care about their problem solved, their questions answered. So it's more to the company. So how the company start working onto this idea if they figure that out.
So probably taking from our own experience at LiveChat, what we do, we have this mantra to put customer first, and doesn't really mean that you need to do everything for the customer blindly. What it means is you have to sympathize with the customer to understand their problem, right? And to do that, product team probably would, in an example you just provided, would just go with a job story, and the job story will go along these lines, which is, when Marcus wants to have a quality holiday time, he wants to make sure that the paperworks are done upfront so that he and his family can enjoy the time off, right? And there are other ways to put that, but the homework here is to really understand what's the core of the customer needs. And probably the slightly different approach here will be for going after the Sierra idea concept, which is to upgrade the customer and
Upgrade
not
the customer.
not the service, right? And how it translates to the omnichannel is very simple. You have to upgrade your customer with the convenience of using multiple channels instead of upgrading your own service with yet another channel, right?
Okay. So basically, we put in, like you said, we put in the customer first.
True. Yeah.
Okay. So now we know the customer needs, right? Like we understand that the customer doesn't care about your strategy behind; they just have some needs. But life is not perfect. There are a lot of problems around what things happen between the customer and business. So, what are the specific problems that Omnichannel tries to solve?
Sure. So, taking the example you mentioned before as a practice, I think that the main problem here could be the fact that the customer has to switch or transition to different channels throughout the entire journey of buying a trip. Right? They probably will start with phone or email. They will move on to some other channel, and probably somewhere on the way, they will happen to have to brief their case all over again. Or
that happens to me many times.
Right?
That you go from email and you tell your story to phone to tell the story again to something else and over and over and over.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good test of determining whether your company provides a multi-channel experience or omni-channel experience.
And on that, I want to recommend you guys to read Kuba Rogalski's article about the difference between multi-channel and omni-channel. I'm going to attach the article into the description. But basically, what we're saying is multi-channel, it's a lot of channels, but different experiences everywhere, while omni-channel puts everything into one, right?
Yeah, I think that you put it greatly. So that multi-channel is just separate channels, but being in the company, but omnichannel connects them, glues them all together into like one seamless experience. And the most obvious reason for multi-channel here is that the company is actually using different teams to handle different channels. And there is this great Conway's law, which can translate into this situation in a way that when you have a team working on some experience, let's say the customer service experience, what they create, what the product is actually the copy of internal structure of these teams. So what it means is that customers can see the silo in your company, right? So if you have separate teams, the customer will see it. And you don't really want that.
So you want to have everything unified as one.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, right? Because that means that the team have to be able to handle different channels within the same team. It's kind of really hard challenge, but we can find some ways to help you with that with software, right?
Now to switch the perspective a little bit, right? Because we know what the customer want. We know some of the problems that they're going to find on the way. Now, on the business side, what can software do for them? Like, how can software help them get into this omni-channel strategy? Like, for example, with LiveChat.
Yeah, I wouldn't be myself if I wasn't speaking about
Exactly.
LiveChat. Yeah, but so starting with the vision, which is very important for us at LiveChat. Our vision is to provide customers with the no barrier communication with businesses, right? And our way of getting around that is through let's say top 3 steps. There are many other activities we do, but I think that these 3 are most important in that subject. So the first one will be quality of the product, the quality of the experience the product provides. The second will be innovation as something we do and we really invest in on LiveChat. And the last thing would be dog fooding, which is using our own software.
So let's try to unpack this vision first of all. So product quality, what will be the main example, or how will you focus on it?
Sure. So the easiest and most obvious thing when it comes to the product quality is to work in iterations. So we do iterate over the product. But the thing that LiveChat goes extra mile with is the actual user experience. So no team at LiveChat is satisfied with mediocre solution. If something works but doesn't feel good, we do it all over again, a little bit better, again and again.
Now, when you mentioned innovation, because innovation is a very scary word for a lot of companies. So how do you apply innovation into your approach?
So there are a lot of initiatives at LiveChat, like supporting innovation on a daily basis. And we've seen it's very important throughout all the years. We've been on the market for 19 years and
Almost 20,
yeah. And that's a lot, right? And we've seen the groundbreaking changes in the way businesses communicate with customers, right? So in order to keep up and even go ahead of that, what's happening on the market, we secure like specific time, special time for innovation to happen. And one of the initiatives I'm thinking of is that every 2 months, entire company gathers and invest their time for 2 weeks into side projects, into creative like solutions, something really detached from like our daily basis roadmap, and that really makes the place for innovation.
And when you talked about dog fooding, I'll let you explain that one. But in my case, when I joined LiveChat, one of the first things I did it was to take the place of an agent to see what is the experience of using the software. So how do we use the software internally for everybody to get that feeling of customer, of agent, so see the whole picture?
Sure. So as you refer to dog fooding, I believe the idea originates to the guy who simply invented a kind of a dog food, and as a part of advertising, they put his own dog eating the dog food they produced. So it was kind of a way saying that this dog food is really good. So it's good enough that my own dog eats it, right? And I think we have the same mentality here, mindset at LiveChat, that we really want to make sure that the product is good through using it before our customers does.
So that way you understand the point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And probably on the way, we can find all the little mistakes we've made, and that kind of ties the loop to the product quality, because our very first heavy user of the product is our own customer service team, full of support heroes who work with the product in the very first line. Mm-hmm. And we have even this setup that the product, every little feature, every little release is firstly released to the environment that only our support team has access to. So they are the very first user of the product and work closely with product developers and quality assurance teams to make sure that the product is really top-notch.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so now to go to the meat, or to the main question, right? How does a company truly provide the perfect omnichannel experience?
Yeah, again, a very good question, right? And we already spoke about that earlier, but the very first thing is to acknowledge that it's about the customer's experience, not yours, not your team's, not your company's experience, but it's about customers. So again, spend some time understanding what your customer really needs here. And if, for instance, you go after enabling a new channel or attaching a new channel to your already existing ones, make sure that your top priority is to integrate it with others. And here is where software is your friend, right? And software can really help you to make it a very smooth transition. And a tip here would be to use LiveChat, obviously. I wouldn't myself, I'm not speaking about LiveChat.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, and I personally believe that at LiveChat we achieve a very good solution to all the problems we've mentioned today through a great user experience for both the agent and the end user, the customer. We go extra mile to make sure that these interfaces are very well built. And for instance, the agents can see all the chat history, whether it's different channel or not, so that they have all the information in one place, right? In a single piece of interface. And the other thing is that when it comes to setting these up, this also can be a hassle, like turning on the new channel and turning off the other one. And we decided to make it very simple at LiveChat. So we have LiveChat Marketplace, where you can find extensions and different channels like Apple Business Chat or Voice and Video by Snopcall, really good examples of channel integrations. And you can simply turn them on and experiment with them. And to help with that, LiveChat builds a separate solutions like routing or automation schedules, so that you can really narrow down the experiment to some specific segment of your audience.
So you have the chance to test.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't need to really invest, you go full into a specific channel. You can try it out, for instance, and see if it works.
Let me stop you right there, because I wanted to ask you when you mentioned the investment part. It sounds like a lot, right? Because there are many, many channels. And for smaller companies, trying to invest in every channel is a bit hard. So do really companies need to invest and be everywhere?
A very on-point question. And my recommendation would be to first make sure that you really want to go into a specific channel and try to think of how it can work, and never go like full into multiple channels without a strategy here. Again, if you are adding a new channel, make sure that your top priority is to integrate it with the others, existing ones, because you really don't want to end up with multiple channels, separate things happening for the customers.
So I wanted to ask you a tip about something you mentioned. This is the second time I hear from you, software is your friend. And I'm not a super software avid person, even though I work here. But what do you mean? What will be your tip to use software as your friend?
So the thing with software is it can be either your friend, as you mentioned, or either like barrier or a blocker. And you have to think of the software or the piece of technology as something that enables you to do something more efficiently or more smoothly. And omnichannel services are great examples of that. Yeah, I think that's digging a little bit about how you can set up the live chat, and also reaching out to our support team, which is like a group of experts on setting these things up, can really go a long way for you.
And I know there's a big group of people in companies that they want to see some return. They want to say, like, all right, if we're going to invest in being in every channel, we need to measure this somehow. And there's a big questions of metrics. Like, what will be a great metric for omnichannel, in your opinion?
Another great question. And
I'm very good at this.
Yeah, you are very good at questions. But definitely, I go to like twofold way. The first one is qualitative feedback, and the second one is quantitative feedback. And when it comes to qualitative feedback, LiveChat is actually pretty elastic to that, and have very handy tools for gathering qualitative feedback. We also have extensions that can, for instance, display polls or surveys within the chat, so you can simply ask your customers what do they feel about the experience, right? And when it comes to the quantitative feedback, and obvious things come to mind, which is firstly, customer satisfaction, measured in thumbs up and thumbs down. We can also have this in LiveChat embedded, and also in resolution times, because in the end, it's all about the customer experience,
how fast
right?
You can help them.
Yeah.
So, Philip, I just want to thank you for all the information today. I'm really taking home the fact that you need to put the customer first before you even think of going omnichannel.
True.
There is some work to do, but I think not only software in general, but LiveChat especially makes it easier for companies to reach an omnichannel presence. And I just want to thank you, everybody, for watching. And hopefully you learned something today. And if you did, you know what to do. Just like this video and subscribe to our channel. And one more time, thank you at home. Thank you, Philip. We'll see you next time, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.